This is Colleen Rodriguez from Wyng'd Lyon Creations, and you're listening to a special recap edition of the Long Beach Comic Expo with Tawmis and Maico.
Hey listener, welcome to the Comic Relief Podcast.
Hope you survived the experience.
The Comic Relief Podcast is an unscripted discussion about the pop culture surrounding comic books, with your hosts,
Uncanny Thomas Loeb
and Mighty Maico Miranda.
What's up, guys? How are we doing today?
Good.
Milady, welcome, Colleen.
Thank you.
Thomas, how are you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
Doing good, feeling good, actually. That was a pretty good Comic Expo. Not the Long Beach Comic Con, that one's in September. This is the cousin of the Long Beach Comic Con.
The redheaded stepchild, if you will.
Hey now.
Yeah, I think I will.
Don't be picking on the redheads.
I know, right?
Okay, you guys recovered from your sleep deprivation?
Oh, still not recovered. I probably never will.
I have to say, I'm doing okay. My feet no longer kill me, and my knee is no longer killing me.
What about your liver?
My liver may need a couple more weeks to recover.
You're no longer killing it. The question of the night, but why is the rum gone?
Because he drank it all.
Without Coke and through a straw.
Through a straw. Oh my God.
My bad.
So we were out at Long Beach this weekend, helping Colleen with her booth, the Wyng'd Lyon Creations, and we got to experience, the usual Comic-Con fare, cosplay, all the vendors. I like to go to Comic-Cons for the comics. What did you guys like out here at the Long Beach Comic Expo? What was cool?
There was a lot of stuff there. Since this was the first year I went, last year I didn't go because I was sick. I was impressed with how big it was. It was a huge venue.
It was probably almost 3 times the size as the room we were in last year.
Yeah, this hall was it's like night and day. The size comparison. It was last year felt like a Comic-Con that I would have gone to, when I was younger at like the Scottish Rite Center here in San Diego. It had a very small time Comic-Con feel to it. This time the hall was huge. They had banners up in the rafters, and it was a huge difference from last year. I liked it.
Last year reminded me of San Diego Comic Fest, where it was in a smaller room, everybody was closer.
I like how they had the artist alley was essentially the core of the con. So the artists, which that's one of my favorite things going to Comic-Con, is meeting a lot of artists and writers and seeing people do sketches and getting commission work done and stuff. They seem like they were the main focus of the Comic-Con, sitting in the middle as opposed to off to the side as you would see it on one of the larger ones. The cosplay was really nice this year as well.
There was a lot of cosplay, that's for sure, especially on Saturday.
Yes. Any standouts?
There was a lot of Harley Quinns, to the point where we started that game of counting how many Harley Quinns we could find.
I think Harley Quinn outnumbered Deadpool.
Yeah, by
I
far.
hadn't seen before, yeah.
Most certainly.
And Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No,
I think
Someone go ahead.
Milady.
I think my favorite was Catwoman, with the 2 little girls dressed as Catwoman.
Yes, that was awesome. And we suspect that they were the Black Widows last year, right? It was a mom with 2 twins, because they appear to be about the same age, all dressed alike. And we saw something similar last year, but they were all dressed as Black Widows.
Yeah, I went back and looked at some of the pictures, and I think the 2 little girls are may not have been the same ones.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that one.
What?
Yeah, I don't remember that.
I believe we have pictures. I might have it on my phone, actually. There's still a few pictures I haven't uploaded yet to the album.
Maybe it was before you showed up.
I think it was, because Tom showed up at about like 1 p.m. Both days, hungover, most likely. Yeah, every time around noon, Colleen would send me out with the hand truck to go get Thomas from the pickup area. Anything else stand out? Yeah, we'd strap him down to the dolly and bring him in like Hannibal Lecter, all dehydrated.
With that mask.
Yeah.
I want some Vivavines.
But yeah, I was gonna mention earlier that there was a lot of Harley Quinns, but there really weren't any 2 that were alike. I am impressed with how many different versions of Harley Quinns there were. Everybody has a different take on Harley Quinn, and that's what's awesome about the character.
Yeah.
It's very versatile too. I mean, there's so much you can do with it.
Oh yeah, you had classic Harley Quinn with the jumpsuit. You had this Harley Quinn who had the headpiece, like the jester's hat, that was like twice her size, and she had to like carry it around in her hand. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was really cool. Like, Even though there's just a few versions of Harley Quinn, everyone did something to make it stand out.
Yes, everybody had their own unique take on it, which was great. Yeah, aside from the cosplay, we did about 5 interviews, which is always awesome. And we wanted to give a big shout out and big thank you to all the folks that we got to interview this week. And of course, the incredible Greg Weisman, who was a co-creator of the Gargoyles, producer of Spectacular Spider-Man, animated series, producer on the new Star Wars Rebels, first season. He's got some novels out. He has a bunch of TV, movie, and comic credits. Great interview, great guy. Was super fun to talk to. Joy de Capua from Blackjack Comics, who we actually got an interview. This is her second interview with Joy. She was always fun, always a great interview. Jason Beckwith, who I met at the Artist Alley from Never Static Productions. He has a number of titles that he writes, and he's got some really cool concepts and ideas. And I picked up his book called Chrono Intel, which is really strange. He says it's a time travel book, but without the time travel. Ray Chow, Skies of Fire, great looking book. Very clean, very nice artwork. It's an international group of guys from Spain, from England, from the States, and everybody had a different role in creating this comic, and it looks really nice. It looks fantastic. Colleen picked up a copy of the Skies of Fire. And also Tanya Bjork, a friend of Colleen's and artist, writing her own comic, her first comic, Havenhurst. So big shout out, big thank you to those guys. They were great. They were fun interviews, and we hope to see them at more cons, and we hope to interview them again and keep up with them as well. What else do we got? What did you guys find or see or buy? You got anybody buy anything cool?
Actually, this is the first con I think I've ever gone to, and I bought not a single thing.
Not a single thing?
I was just there to be a minion.
Not even a Coke for your rum, huh?
Not even a Coke for my rum. I even stole that from you guys.
Did you really not get anything, dude? Wow. All right. Well, then how about you, Colleen? Did you get anything cool?
Well, I bought Skies of Fire. I bought my kids some items.
What items would you get?
I got them each a nightlight.
What are they? What were the nightlights of?
Me and you.
I got my son.
Nightmare-inducing nightlights.
Exactly.
My son Spider-Man and my daughter Wonder Woman. I got myself some Harley socks and
a couple pair of what socks?
Harley Quinn, and then I got a friend of ours, Josh. I got him a T-shirt.
There was strangest thing. There was a booth for essentially weightlifting / workout shirts that were comic based. So at first glance, you think, oh, that's pretty cool, whatever. But then you really got to think about how far comics have gone in our society, where there was a booth dedicated to weightlifting shirts. So there was a bunch of muscle bound dudes rocking comic book shirts, selling them for that, and they were great shirts too. I picked one up for myself. The one shirt that Colleen got for Josh was awesome. It's a little potted plant, baby Groot, and he's flexing his big muscles, like a little kid. And it says "growing stronger every day." That's an awesome shirt to be in the gym lifting weights too. I got Thor lifting up, instead of Mjolnir, he's lifting up the barbell with weights, and it says "Dost thou even lift?" which is awesome.
They were at BentCon. That's where
cool.
I first saw the Groot shirt and didn't pick it up for him then. And then when you told me that you had got the Thor shirt, I was like, oh, I know who that is. So that's why when I was walking around, I found them and I grabbed that shirt for Josh, the Groot one.
Yeah, well, I saw a big yoked dude, like big buff dude, shaved head, typical kind of a meathead kind of guy, and he had that shirt on, and it was like I had to stop him and tell him, dude, that is an awesome shirt. And he's the one that pointed me towards that booth. He said, yep, that's my booth. It's back over there, and I had to make a beeline over there. That was pretty cool.
The only thing I have to say that was that I was kind of disappointed in is that there wasn't much stuff like kids' clothes. There weren't kid-sized T-shirts.
Oh, there definitely wasn't. There wasn't many clothes vendors at all, really. Usually there's at least a booth that has nothing but shirts, but this time there wasn't really a typical traditional T-shirt booth. So you got the socks, the nightlight, the Skies of Fire, the shirt. Anything else?
No, I think that's really all I got. That's all I saw that to me was appealing. I was gonna grab another print from Joe Benitez, but his booth was packed when I walked by, and I'm probably gonna see him this next weekend at Tucson, so I can grab something then.
Yeah, he did. He had a line, quite a long line actually.
Because he just released issue 4 of Lady Mechanica, and it's been about a 2 or 3 year hiatus. From what I've heard, is he was having dispute issues with the publisher that it was going through. He had to find a new publisher and everything. So issue 4 of Lady Mechanica just came out, and he was doing signings and stuff of that.
Interestingly enough, Chris Claremont was also there, famous writer of the Uncanny X-Men, one of the longest writers that the book has seen. He was signing autographs, and when I happened to walk by, there was practically no line. The only problem was that he is a chatterbox. He will chat you up, and no line, long wait. But he was still a very nice guy. Unfortunately, I didn't get to talk to him. By the time I got up to him, he was being interviewed by what appeared to be perhaps a podcast or maybe a website, and he was answering their questions. So I just got a book signed real quick and was in and out. But I was pretty stoked. I got a copy of the Uncanny X-Men. I believe it's 157. Is that correct, Tom?
That is correct.
It's a Phoenix issue that's not quite a Phoenix issue.
Yes.
Still a great issue, though, and it was really nice to meet up with them. When you think of like Stan Lee and Chris Claremont, these are guys that are tenured. They've been in the business for a long time, and they're still going to cons. They're still shaking hands. They're still signing autographs and chatting with people and taking pictures, and they still got some energy. A lot of these dudes could do.
Someone like Chris Claremont, I mean, he's been in the business for so long. Even if he stopped doing comics, people would still go and get stuff signed, by him for years to come.
Yeah, he could still rake in some dough on a good Comic-Con weekend, absolutely.
Yep.
And plus, how awesome is it to finally see your work just explode into the movies and into society and into this zeitgeist of what's going on right now with comics. It's got to be amazing. It's got to feel really good. Did I find anything else? I got some pop figures for the kids, Frozen pop figure and Attack on Titan.
Or for the kids.
Yeah, for the kids.
Right.
They just can't open them or play with them or touch them. It's still on my shelf. I picked up some comics from Blackjack Comics from Joy. I picked up their Phantom Hawk. Phantom Hawk 4 is an awesome cover. They contracted a cover artist to do their cover, and it's very professional. They also have another book called The Last Pendragon and Sunscreen, so I picked up some indie books, and I got that Thor shirt, and I think that was about it. Can't go to a con and not bring the kids back something. And I just grabbed a couple comics and a shirt for myself, and that was about it. Yeah, Tom was gonna pick a Voltron hat up for his boss.
I was eyeballing the Stitch one.
The Stitch hat?
No,
the
figure.
Stitch pod figure.
Oh, the Stitch pop figure.
I was eyeballing the Harley Quinn beanie cap though too.
Like the one thing that I wanted to buy, but I didn't, I should have, was the Flash versus Vibe, and I would have given it to you, Maico, because it was classic Vibe.
I have no problem with Vibe. I have no problem with Vibe. Except for the original Vibe, which is just ridiculous. I like what they've done with Cisco in the show, but they've worked a miracle, essentially, making that guy cool. Anything else from the Comic-Con?
Just that all the cosplayers there were extremely patient, extremely friendly. It was really amazing. They were an amazing set of people.
Yeah, that's another thing. The Comic-Con was set up really well. They had everything organized really well. They had the Artist Alley in dead center in the middle. It took up the majority of the real estate. Then you had the cosplay corner, where they had professional cosplayers in booths, and they would do meetups and stuff and take pictures. And then you had a little section where they did old school gaming, and Colleen just was loving the Mario Brothers audio
music
coming. Yeah, the music
man.
and
The coins. Bling.
They had it. Yeah, they had it full blast. Full blast.
They did.
They had a little laser tag area, an inflatable laser tag area, which was really cool. So this was really, the floor plan was really thought out very well. I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
And the cool thing for me, being a vendor, is I actually got to drive practically, I was like one row over from my booth. So I actually got to drive in on the convention show floor and unload up to leave.
Oh my God, yes.
And that was really nice.
Yeah. You guys have helped me load out at other conventions where you have to like walk to the truck and load everything in and then come back and do it again. And
I think last year's Comic Expo, they had to actually go downstairs for part of it or take the elevator, but sometimes the cart was so full. Yeah, it was brutal.
Now the load out from that show last year was way better than loading in because there was no ramp at the loading dock.
Ugh. And you loaded in by yourself too, didn't you?
I did, yeah, I did.
Oh man! And then the San Diego Comic Fest, we have to go like from one end of the little convention area, like across the pool through the hotel.
I think the worst one to load is probably the Queen Mary when they made us use the freight elevator because the freight elevator was no wider than a maid's cart. We could get the dolly in and one person, and that was it. And we had to schlep the grid wall up 3 flights of stairs to get it into the room. The first year we did it, that we had to get in the room we were vending. They since amended the contract so we can use the main elevators now, so it's much more pleasant. So last year's Long Beach was a close second to the first couple of years on the Queen Mary as far as horrible load-ins.
Did you guys have to take a dinghy out to the boat?
You know, that probably would have been easier.
So, Colleen of Wyng'd Lyon Creations, where can we find your booth next?
Well, March 6th, 7th, and 8th, I'll be out at Old Tucson Studios for Wild Wild West Con. March 13th, 14th, and 15th, I will be at Condor Convention in San Diego. It's San Diego's longest-running sci-fi convention. Chad Kavanaugh will be out with me at Condor on Saturday, March 14th, promoting the map, as well as Mike Gallagher from Dreams in the Witch House is going to be there.
Very cool. Did you see that Chad Kavanaugh's art from Dreams of the Witch House was on display?
Signum Crucis is on display in Sweden. Yeah, I knew about that.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Very cool.
I think it's really cool that Sweden actually has a library for comic books and TV shows.
Do they really?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, if you guys watch the video, Mike actually talks about that. It's this whole library of comic books and TV shows and movies and stuff there in Sweden. The following weekend, I will be in Paris, California at Iron Horse Steam Days. And then that wraps up my March schedule. And then in April, towards the end of the month, I will be at Kingdom Con, which is a San Diego gaming convention. And then from there, I believe the next event that I will be doing is a Free Comic Book Day with Jamie over at SoCal Comics.
We'll see you there at Free Comic Book Day, since we're going to be there as well.
Where can folks go to see your calendar items and where you'll be at in the future?
They can find us at wyngdlyon.com. Let me spell that for you because it is odd. It's WYNGDLYON.com. It's got our calendar events, a link to our online store, our Facebook, and our Twitter pages, as well as Instagram, and where you can hit us up on all of those.
And where can they find us at, Thomas?
They can go to www.comicreliefpodcast.com or facebook.com/comicreliefpodcast or twitter.com/comicreliefpodc.
And you'll find Thomas and I August 7th, 8th, and 9th, 2015, this year at BronyCon 2015.
Can't wait.
Yep.
I got my furry boots.
Tom's been working hard on his cosplay, and we'll have plenty of pictures. We're thinking about doing the drag queen convention in Las Vegas this year. Do you have dates for that? Oh, it's in Los Angeles.
It's Los Angeles, May 16th and May 17th.
We're going to be at RuPaul's Dragon Con in May, so I might just double up on my brony cosplay.
Better do your sexy Olaf.
I'm going to do my sexy Olaf. Sexy Summer Olaf, that's my version, so I don't want to see a bunch of sexy Summer Olafs out there, people stealing my ideas, okay?
Probably not going to be a problem.
Up next, we got Greg Weisman, author of Reign of the Ghosts and Spirits of Ash and Foam.
This is Greg Weisman, and you're listening to Comic Relief Podcast.
So we're here with Greg Weisman today at the Long Beach Comic Expo. How are you doing today, Greg?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing very well, man. Thank you for doing this with us. Greg is co-creator of the Gargoyles. Huge for a lot of our childhoods. Supervising producer on Spectacular Spider-Man. Producer on Young Justice. You're recently have done the new Star Wars Rebels with Disney, is that correct?
Yep, first season.
Only the first season?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very nice, very nice. A lot of TV credits. You did do some comics, though, early on, right? You did the Captain Atom
yes.
and the Young Justice. You plan on doing any more comic books?
Yeah, I'm doing Star Wars Kanan right now, The Last Padawan. I did the Gargoyles comics, and I hope to do more. I love doing comics. And started in comics in 1983. I never really stopped.
Oh, right on. And the new Star Wars book, is that going to be a part of the official canon?
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. And I did see that you tweeted some artwork with the two Jedis going up against the droids, right?
Battle droids.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Pepe Larraz did that gorgeous artwork. I mean, the book is really going to be fantastic. Even if I suck, Pepe's work is so beautiful. The book is just going to rock. I just started writing the 5th issue, the last of my arc. I've written the first 4. Those are done. Pepe, I think, is just starting issue 3. on his side of things, and I'm just starting the script for issue 5.
Nice. And when is that plan on coming out?
Issue 1 is in April.
Oh, issue 1. Oh, no, very nice, very nice. You mentioned you were doing some other work in the comics?
There's a project I can't talk about yet. It's going to be announced shortly, and I'm always sort of pushing to do more Gargoyles comics.
Oh, very cool.
But I can't announce anything there yet either, because there's nothing to announce yet. But I hope soon, someday, we'll have that going too.
Oh, very cool. How about in TV? Are you doing anything in TV? Any work on TV?
Yeah, I'm producing a show that I also can't talk about.
Can't talk about?
It's going to be very, very exciting. Just started in January. It's a new project. So for your listeners who are like, is it more Young Justice? Is it more this? No, it's nothing more. It's
something new.
It's something new for me, at least. And then the big thing are my 2 novels, which I wrote, Reign of the Ghosts and Spirits of Ash and Foam. And they're the first 2 books in a 9-book series, and I'm very excited about those. If your listeners like my work on Gargoyles or Young Justice or Witch or Spectacular Spider-Man or any of the shows I've done, I really do think they'd love these books. And you can get them on Amazon or at any bookstore.
As a writer, do you like venturing off into new grounds? I know you probably get a lot of people asking you to come back and redo stuff and do more Gargoyles, like you mentioned, do more Young Justice. Do you like expanding your horizons a little bit?
I like both. I fall in love with these characters on all these series that I work on for so long, and it's not like I don't want to go back to those things. I really, really do. I'd love to do more Young Justice on television and comics, whatever. Love to do more Gargoyles in one form or another. But yeah, it's always great to start something new. And what I love is world building. And so the new show that I'm doing is all about that. And the Reign of the Ghosts series is also about creating this world. It's set on a chain of Caribbean islands called the Ghost Keys. Features a heroine who's this 13-year-old girl whose parents work in the tourist service industry. She lives in a bed and breakfast that her mom and dad run. And at age 13, she's already making beds for tourists, serving them breakfast, cutting bait for her dad's boat, and she just feels trapped. And she feels like she'll graduate high school and just spend her entire life on these same 8 islands with nothing else to do.
Tropical islands.
And she doesn't view it as a tropical paradise, which it is, but she doesn't think of it that way because it's home. What she discovers is that she's part of a heritage. She finds out that she can communicate with the dead.
Oh, wow.
And so she has a mystery to solve. She has a mission to accomplish. She has a destiny to fulfill. And it's full of the mythology of the Taino people, who are the indigenous pre-Columbian natives of the Caribbean. They have the same kind of rich mythology that the Greeks had or the Norse had, but they're stories that most people have never heard. I was amazed at what great stories they had, so I'm sort of trying to take those great myths and bring them into a modern context. So there's a little bit of horror, there's a lot of mystery, there's adventure, action, comedy, a little bit of romance. Everything that we do in those TV series, I do in these books. Really,
and you said this was a nine-book series?
In theory, I've only written the first 2. But,
Gotcha.
But if the first 2 do well, hopefully St. Martin's Press will order the 3rd one.
Okay. And where can folks find the book? Are you on Audible? Do you have the book online?
Yeah, you can get it ebook. It's on Amazon. You can get the actual paperbacks on Amazon, or you can get it as an ebook. Both books are available as ebooks. You can walk into any bookstore if they don't literally have it on the shelf the day you happen to come in. You can go to the desk and order it, but any of the websites like Amazon or, Barnes & Noble or any of those can order it for you too.
Now, are these the first novels that you've written?
They're the first novels I've finished.
That you finished. Gotcha.
I have, on occasion, started other novels that I never got around to finishing, but these are the first 2 that I've actually written beginning to end.
Now, how does it feel finally finishing and publishing these novels compared to all your previous work in TV and comics?
Well, it's tremendously satisfying. I love doing TV and comics, not only because they pay the bills, but because I really do love it, and I love the collaborative process, particularly on an animated series. All the great people I collaborate with, actors and composers and artists and everything like that. But there is something very, very satisfying about just using words and doing it all myself, and for once not compromising even a little.
Sure.
But just doing it exactly as I envision it.
Now, as you did this novel, did you keep anything in the back of your head to say that this might turn into a TV series one day?
Well, it was originally developed as a television series.
Oh, very cool.
That's where we started back in the 90s, late 90s. I was at DreamWorks, and I developed it originally, created and developed it as a cartoon series.
Oh, wow.
And we actually sold it to Nickelodeon. But
Reign of the Ghosts?
Yes.
Was? Oh, wow.
But for various reasons that had a lot more to do with business than creativity,
Sure.
it never went. Mm-hmm. So I bought the property back from DreamWorks and wrote the novel over a decade ago, the first book. And it didn't sell. And I wanted to do a rewrite, and I decided to put it on the shelf just for a little bit to get a little perspective on it. I thought, let me just put it away for a couple weeks. Yeah. So like 10 years later, I finally thought I should really go back to that and finish it. So I did a rewrite, and I'd been kind of, to be honest, intimidated and been procrastinating on it for literally over 10 years.
Oh, man. So it's got to feel real good. Thank you very much for doing this with us, Greg. Greg, where can folks find you and your books and your work?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Greg_Weisman. That's at GREG_WEISMAN. I also have a website, askgregweisman.com, one word, AskGregweisman.com, where I've been answering questions about gargoyles and Young Justice and all my shows for almost 18, 19 years or something like that. There's a huge archive there of already answered questions, so if you want to look up Demona, there's a huge archive just on Demona alone, or another one on Macbeth, or another one on Goliath. There are also archives on Spectacular Spider-Man, Young Justice, Witch, every other show I've done as well. And if you can't find the answer to your question, there's a place where you can post a new question. I'll admit I'm about a year behind answering questions because I get so many of them, but I do get to all the questions eventually. If you're looking for my books, whether it's old Gargoyles trades or Young Justice trades, or the novels Reign of the Ghosts, which is RAIN, Reign of the Ghosts, or Spirits of Ash and Foam, you can find those on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or any bookstore.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, we got Joy de Capua from Blackjack Comics.
Hi, this is Joy de Capua, and you are listening to the Comic Relief Podcast.
Your last name's pronounced de Capua, right?
De Capua.
De Capua. See, I'm Mexican, so I try to give everything like a Spanish like twist to it.
It's Italian.
Is it?
It's of Capua, so a city in Italy. Yeah.
De Capua. De Capua.
So I anglicized it. Because I told my husband, because military, everyone knows you by your last name.
Yes, absolutely. So it's been about a year since we last spoke. And it was here at the Long Beach Comic Expo as well, right?
Yes.
You let us read the, I think it was the first 2 issues of Phantom Hawk. It looks like you guys are up to issue 4 now. Is issue 5 in the works as well?
It is in the works, yes.
Cool. So. And you've also expanded your titles. You have more titles. What's going on with you guys now?
We do. So we have Sunscreen as well as The Last Pendragon.
Okay.
The Last Pendragon is our British superhero. He is the last living heir of King Arthur Pendragon, is raised to adulthood not knowing it, and then something happens in the comic without giving too much away where he has to go on a quest to become the last Pendragon and take on that role in his life.
Oh, very cool. And what is the role? Is he like endowed with superpowers or?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
He actually steps into that and becomes the Pendragon through his quest.
Oh, nice. Oh, I see. So, and how many issues of that did you have out?
Just one.
Just the one?
Just the one shot.
Okay. And
then we have Sunscreen. So alien entities, they're beings that their planet is dying, their race is dying, and they can inhabit host bodies. One of them comes to Earth to inhabit host bodies and take over.
Okay.
Another one follows to stop him.
Wow.
That's Sunscreen.
Oh, and how far along into Sunscreen are you guys?
We just came out with the first issue.
Oh, nice.
So issue 2 is in the works. It's actually getting inked right now.
Okay.
So the ape is about an archaeologist who is almost sacrificed to a silverback gorilla. Something goes wrong with the ritual and he becomes merged together with a silverback. So he's part man, part ape. He is still an archaeologist though, traveling the world trying to find out the truth behind different myths, legends, and the artifacts that go with them.
As a gorilla?
As half man, half gorilla. He is the ape.
Does he look like a?
He is larger than life, and he has the anger and emotional control of a gorilla.
He's in gorilla form,
but still has the intelligence of a man.
An archaeologist.
So,
That's very cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
So he goes around looking like a gorilla, but he does studies and travels that way.
But we did this as a one-shot. Unfortunately, that writer that worked with us on that title decided he wanted to start his own company, so he left us.
Bummer.
So we did just the one-shot, one time.
I see.
So there's not going to be any more. It's a complete story, and we're not printing anymore. So what we have on hand, we're selling out of. So if you're interested, get it now. All of our other titles are available online for digital download. Yep.
And who are the artists and the writers for these books?
Oh goodness, we have a lot that we've hired recently. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So I'd actually have to sit there and look.
No problem.
We do have them listed up on our website, though, blackjackcomics.com. We have the writers and artists all listed there with pictures and a little bio.
And can folks buy the comics from blackjackcomics.com?
We actually have them available for digital download right now on blackjackcomics.com, but we're going to be doing soon print on demand so they can get them printed and sent to their house as well.
Oh, so no way, really?
They can get paper copies instead of just digital copies.
Yeah.
That's in the works, so it hasn't been set up yet, but we're in the process of doing that.
Gotcha. So for now, you can go to Blackjack Comics and download something
It's a digital download,
Download? Very cool, very cool. So where are we at on Phantom Hawk? It looks like you mentioned issue 4 was recently released?
Yes, we just came out with issue 4, and to remind you, Phantom Hawk is a super soldier who is framed for the destruction of the program that created him. So he's on the run, trying to clear his name as well as get revenge against those who framed him. So I like to say that if Batman and the Punisher had a love child that had zero money, that would be Phantom Hawk.
Zero inheritance.
He's completely broke.
That'd be a brutal love child. Jeez.
And it really is a story of if everything you love was ripped away from you, how far would you go to get your life back?
Gotcha.
So that's what he is doing, is trying to go and get his life back, and in the meantime, get revenge against those who just took everything away from him.
I gotta mention, the cover for issue 4 is really, really nice. The artwork is great on that. Good job.
Thank you.
Good job of your cover artist.
That actually was my business partner, Nick Garber. So, and that really shows where we are going as a company now.
Yeah, that's good art.
We started out and things were a little bit different, and of course every artist grows and things change. So this shows the progression of our company and where we're going with our art.
Oh, very cool. And once again, you can find these books on blackjackcomics.com.
Yes.
Do you guys have you have a social media presence?
We do. We are on facebook.com, Blackjack Comics. We also have a Twitter. We have Tumblr. So we're everywhere. Instagram, Blackjack Comics.
Very cool.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Joy, for doing this with us. And go check out their comics, download the copies, and hopefully in the future you'll be able to get the printed versions as well. More on that later. And thank you for doing this.
All right, thank you so much.
Next is our interview with Jason Beckwith of Never Static Productions.
Hi, this is Jason Beckwith from Never Static Pictures, author of The Tool and Taking Eden. I'm very happy to be on the Comic Relief podcast.
Okay, so we're here with Jason Beckwith from Never Static Pictures, correct? Comic creator and writer of Taking Eden, The Tool, Chrono and Cell, and Anarchy Beyond the Walls. How are you doing today, Jason?
I'm doing great, having a fun time.
Awesome, man. So how's your Comic-Con so far? Been busy?
Yeah, it's been busy. A lot of interest in the books. A lot of people like one story, and some people like the other. And talking to all kinds of new people and seeing all the great costumes go by. Always a good time.
Absolutely. So Taking Eden looks like the main book. You have that in trade format now, right?
Yeah, we just hit issue 6. This is the first show that we've had the trade paper book available at.
Cool. And what can you tell me about the book?
Taking Eden is the story of a small town girl named Marnie who saves up all summer to move to the big city with her cousin. Her cousin's a gothic DJ at a series of nightclubs there. The owner of the nightclubs is a sorcerer who's abducting young women who, and then he uses magic to extract their innocence, which he makes into a drug called Eden. Hence the title Taking Eden.
Oh, wow. Now, is this an ongoing series or is this...
It actually has a finite ending. It's going to be an 18-issue arc when all is said and done. So the first 6 books in the trade paperback comprise pretty much Act 1.
Gotcha. I heard you talking with one of the Comic-Con attendees here, and you were talking about Chrono and Tell is a time-traveling book without the time travel.
Exactly. I really wanted to do something with the time travel genre because I've always been interested in Back to the Future, Terminator, Doctor Who, all those things. I didn't feel like I could bring anything new to the genre. So much has already been done. But I started listening to podcasts while I was driving around to these cons. I started listening to like quantum science and string theory. Finally, one of the scientists said, the human body is not well suited for time travel. We tend to turn to goo at the speed of light. It's, it just, it doesn't work out.
Sure.
But if you want to change the past, you don't have to go there to do it. All you have to do is send a message. And that became the aha moment for me.
Oh, that's cool.
And so what I did is I wrote a story where a young genius comes up with the idea to build a transmitter to transmit light back into the past. He uses pulses of light to send messages to himself.
Nice.
But instead of building the transmitter first, he builds the receiver first. And as soon as he turns it on, 5 minutes later, flashes of light start appearing from nowhere, and he gets the first message from himself.
Nice.
From the future. At the age of 88, he spent his entire lifetime building the transmitter. The next thing that he gets are the plans to build the transmitter, so now he doesn't have to spend his lifetime doing it. And then then he hooks up with another guy, and they start to do things like stop terrorist attacks and help out society.
That's a pretty cool concept. That's pretty
Thank
cool.
you.
That totally makes sense now when you say that it's a time traveling book without the time traveling. That's pretty cool. And how about the Tool? What can you tell us about the Tool?
The Tool is a college-age espionage story with a twist, kind of like Alias before it got all weird.
Yeah, right on.
So it's very much cloak and dagger. It's got a lot of that spy stuff, but it's not as big as, say, like a Danger Girl or James Bond. The plots are a little bit more down to earth. In this one, they're dealing with political assassination and trying to shut down a political group on campus. It's much more relevant. I was looking at a lot of the COINTEL programs from the 1960s and really wanted to do something with that because it feels like that sort of thing is happening in our society again today.
And then the title of the Tool is not descriptive of the character himself. He's not. You didn't make him like a jerk or anything like that.
He is a tool.
He's a tool,
but kind of unwittingly.
Gotcha. And how about, what was the other one?
Anarchy Beyond the Walls.
Yeah.
That's my newest title. We haven't quite finished the book yet. We've got all the artwork's done except for the cover. I'm still waiting on the colors to catch up. It's a new artist for me that I'm working with on that one. And it's my attempt to cross a Western with a fairy tale set in a dystopic future.
Oh, wow.
So it happens after the financial collapse of the United States, where already the rich are starting to live in gated areas and communities. In this case, once the dollar collapses, the walls go up much higher, and they end up taking over the cities, but they can't control anything outside of the city, so it becomes anarchy beyond the walls.
Oh, nice.
And then the fairy tale story comes in with a girl that lives inside the walls and a motorcycle courier that lives outside the walls.
Okay.
And the love story that happens between them.
And then you don't have that book out quite yet?
I don't. If I'm lucky, I'll have it done by WonderCon,
Gotcha.
which is coming up next month. But if not, shortly thereafter.
And where can folks find the books to order or to read or download?
I'm pretty active on Facebook, so if you go to facebook.com/takingeden, you'll see updates every couple of weeks there. There's also takingeden.com, and I haven't made a big marketing push for the other books yet.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Jason. Thank you for your time, man. Enjoy your con.
Yeah, thank you. I hope you do well also.
Thank you.
Up next, we got Ray Chow of Skies of Fire.
Hi, this is Ray Chow from Skies of Fire, and you're listening to the Comic Relief Podcast.
I'm here talking with Grace of Skies of Fire, which is a book that was kickstarted last year, you said, right?
Yeah, last year on Kickstarter, we raised about $15,000. We reached our stretch goals, and we debuted at New York Comic Con.
Oh, very cool. Now, Skies of Fire, what is this book about?
It's it is a diesel-punk action-adventure featuring massive air machines and duels in the high skies. It's a story about loyalty, betrayal, and testing how far you can push your loyalty.
Oh, nice. And one thing that really jumps out at you, besides the format, it's a different format. It's not the regular comic size. This is you mentioned this is more like a European fashion.
Yeah, well, we're a very international team, and that seeped into our creation. The co-writer, Vincenzo, he's from London. Our artist, Pablo Pepino, is in Spain. Our colorist, Brian Valencia, he's in Indonesia. And so we decided to go with square word bubbles and extra large format, and our
very
colors
cool.
too.
And whose idea was that? Was that the artist's idea?
Well, it would be the creators, so that would be Vincenzo Fierro and Reach Out here.
Very nice to meet you, Ray. I'm Maico at the Comic Relief Podcast. So, one thing, you're a co-creator, writer? You said the artist was in Spain, right? How far have you guys gotten into writing this book here?
We have, so originally it started out as a screenplay, so we have the full story mapped out, but every single time we convert it to comic book script, we kind of rewrite a lot. So we have the rough outline all the way to 8 issues, and that's kind of our first series, I guess, first arc. And we have the 3rd issue done up until comic book script formatting, but we know where it's going, basically.
Gotcha. And I'm sorry, how many issues did you say it would be roughly?
8.
8 issues?
Yeah.
And do you guys plan on putting it all in a trade paperback at some point?
Yeah.
Make it all in one big book?
We're thinking either at 4 or at 8.
Nice. And one thing I got to compliment you on is right off the bat, the art is awesome. The art looks really, really good. Your artist is in Spain? Spanish?
Yeah, he's actually an Argentinian. He just moved to Spain recently at the start of the new year, but his name is Pablo Pepino, a great guy out of Rosario, Argentina. We blasted jobs wanted postings at all the art forums, and we just kind of sifted through the art, and so full compliments go to him and Brian Valenza, the colorist. I think Brian is really responsible for a lot of the look as well, with the beautiful, bright colors that you see, and he's out of Indonesia.
Oh, nice. Very nice. And where can folks find this comic if they wanted to order it or read it?
The best place is on our official website, www.skiesofire.com with 1 F, and we have an official store over there.
Okay. Do you guys have a presence on Facebook or Twitter?
We do. It's facebook.com/skiesofire, again 1 F, and same thing at skiesofire.com.
Very cool.
Skies of Fire.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Is there anything else you would like to mention about the book?
Yeah, issue 2 is right around the corner, so stay tuned. Bigger
Very cool.
and better.
And are you guys still kickstarting, using Kickstarter as a method to fund this book, or was the first Kickstarter enough to keep you guys going?
The first Kickstarter was enough to fully fund the production of the 2 first issues, as well as partially fund the 3rd issue. We're currently kind of consolidating and thinking about what our next step is with regards to that, but we know that we will return to Kickstarter at some point.
That's great, man. I really like to hear people's Kickstarters not only reaching their goals, but exceeding expectations, man. That's very awesome.
Thanks, man.
Congrats to you guys.
Thank you.
Cool.
And this is Tanya Bjork of Havenhurst Comics.
This is Tanya Bjork, creator of Havenhurst, and you are listening to the Comic Relief Podcast.
Okay, so I'm here with Tanya Bjork from Havenhurst, the Havenhurst series. And how are you doing today? How's your Comic Con going so far?
It's going great. There's a lot of people excited about comics.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so tell me about Havenhurst.
Havenhurst is a story about a runaway and her 2 daemon familiars hiding out in the human world, and who fast catches up to her.
Is this the first comic series you've written?
This is the first comic series I have written.
And you're a writer, artist, you do the whole thing on it?
Letter, color, everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And how has that been?
It has been a learning process.
Yeah?
It's been great.
So prior to this...
I have been writing stories so I can illustrate them for as long as I can remember, and I don't know why it took this long. Like, I grew up reading ElfQuest as a kid.
Sure.
But about 7 years ago, I was like, wait, if I do comics, I can draw more pictures to go with the story. So I've just been kind of like cramming and learning about the art, sequential art, formatting, lettering, like the whole industry. Yeah, there's a lot to learn.
So you've taken all the things that you've done before and just kind of put them all into one format and compress it into a short book, in other words, in a comic.
Yeah, it's very visual. I love it as a storytelling medium. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Havenhurst series, do you have this planned on being an ongoing series, or is this a closed series?
This is a closed series. It's going to be 10 books by the time it's completed. It actually started accidentally at a 24-hour comic book day.
At a 24-hour comic book day?
Yes.
What was that?
That started as a dare from one comic creator to another. So it's come up with the idea for a comic book, and within 24 hours have a completed 24-page book. And the idea behind it is, don't be scared of making mistakes. Just like do it, make a thing, and have it finished product, because that's a huge hurdle for a lot of aspiring creators. They just never get around to finishing a thing because fear of failure, perfectionism.
Mm-hmm. And Havenhurst was the result of that 24-hour comic book day thing.
Yeah, I just kind of came up with this character and her companion, and the story just kind of came out, and a world started building around it. So yeah, I've got this whole story that's going to end up wrapping at 240 pages.
Oh, wow. And do you plan on continuing doing comics?
Absolutely. I've got the next 2 graphic novel size projects planned already.
And are those set in the same world as Havenhurst, or is it going to be completely separate?
Completely different.
Wow.
Yeah, they're all going to have an element of the supernatural, but very, very different worlds and settings.
Yeah, you wouldn't consider crossing them over or having them all exist in the same universe?
No. I think I'll let them have their
own
worlds.
Oh, wow.
Start from scratch, make whole new worlds. Let's do it.
Very cool. And what's the next project that you're working on after Havenhurst?
I'm actually working on, it's yet to be announced, but I'm working on a 3-part anthology. It's for creators from different countries. I'm representing America somehow on the theme of revolution. So that's in progress, and after this, I've got a story that's sort of like a supernatural, swamp, alternate reality kind of thing. It takes place in a bayou town.
Oh, I see.
And it's sort of anachronistic. It's like not really a lot of technology. It's supernatural. It's very, very much under the surface of the water.
Gotcha.
Literally.
Literally.
Yeah. So it's gonna be very subtle, but it's gonna be a very different kind of story.
Oh, cool. And where can folks find the book if they wanted to read it?
I mostly just vend at local cons, and I'm working on getting these available online.
Digital?
And I've got havenhurstcomic.com, and I've also got TanyaBjork.com.
Cool. And do you have a presence on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram?
Facebook, Tumblr. I don't have an Instagram. I probably should. Google Plus.
And they can just essentially find you by your name, Tanya Bjork.
Yeah, very simple.
Or Havenhurst.
Yeah, very simple, Tanya Bjork by the name, and I'll update with new books coming out, where I'm going to be showing up at shows.
Cool. Anything else you'd like to mention about the series or about any of your work?
I'm really excited to tell the story, and I'm really excited to tell the next, and I'm really excited to see people excited about it too.
Sounds good. Thank you for doing the interview.
Thank you.
Very nice meeting you guys.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for listening, you guys. Until next time, keep it real.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Comic Relief Podcast.
We'll hope you join us next time as we continue to discuss all things comic book related.
And until then, make mind Marvel
and DC
and independent. Don't forget to check us out at comicreliefpodcast.com, or you can visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/Comic Relief Podcast, or go to our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/Comic Relief Podcast. And finally, there is our Twitter page, which is twitter.com/Comic Relief PODC. I'd like to give a special shout out to Travis Richards, who did the music for the Comic Relief Podcast. Visit his website at www.travisarichards.com.